Do y'all think it was necessary for RG3 to turn his Hamlin jersey around so we saw the name? Or do you think most people understood the bit by then that the Buffalo Bills jersey with that particular number, 3, I believe, that's what we were doing?
I think people probably knew that that was a Damar Hamlin jersey, as he was very much in the news cycle at that point. Yeah. KJ?
There's room to wonder if people would have been concerned, like, is he wearing his own jersey? Like, if you weren't super familiar with RG3's career, but you knew that was his nickname, you could be like, this is weird. Like, why wear a custom jersey of your own and paying homage to the Bills if you didn't know that was Damar Hamlin's number?
RG.
It's kind of a weird DB number. Exactly. It's kind of a weird DB number, to be honest.
It is.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have. I don't know if I needed to see it. Maybe he just got really into crisscross. Did you guys ever have a crisscross phase in the early 90s?
I absolutely had a crisscross phase.
Me too.
Absolute bangers.
If you didn't, you had a theme day each year that like relegated you to throwing on backwards overalls.
Yeah.
Daddy Mac will make you
Jump.
Mm-hmm. Crisscross will make you. You can just keep going, but I'll stop.
It's time to podcast. Welcome to Too Much Dip. We've got some content for yous, guys. My name's Dave. Joining me in studio, as always, Dylan Shivery.
Thank you, David. Very happy to be here. I just went home for lunch, as I do sometimes, to check on Stella, let her out. You know, she can do her thing. Quick little trip, came back up to the studio, and drove right past one Chris Beard, who is also in the news, but for a different reason, very different reasons. And it felt weird seeing him in his car. Just, I don't know.
You kind of wonder what he's thinking,
Yeah.
where his head's at.
Because I saw him. He was pulling out onto a busier street from the street he was on. He was kind of looking, both ways to see, looking for a clearing. And I just like, what's going through his head right now? Probably not in a great headspace at the moment.
What was he driving?
He was pushing a silver Lexus SUV.
Okay.
Not a brand new one. Yeah, I don't know. It was weird. Anyway,
Okay.
Shouts to Longhorn basketball.
KJ, did you have any run-in with any now defunct?
Paul Christ.
Okay.
Although Paul Christ wouldn't be like, ashamed to be seen here locally in Madison. No, I didn't run into any former coaches, but you got to wonder if old Chris has like already got a list of nonprofits that he can complete some community service with, like just in case he needs to clear up his record within the next year.
Man, it's crazy because I saw Art Briles at the golf course a couple days ago.
I don't know what's next for Chris Beard. Where do you go from here?
Probably a massive PR campaign. Well, first of all, probably some court dates. You got to figure that whole deal out.
Right.
The judicial system.
I was thinking professionally speaking. Where do you go from here?
And maybe take some time off, reevaluate, get yourself in a treatment program, and then I would say he's unhireable. The only coach I think that has ever become unhireable is Art Briles. Because you had Dave Bliss, also Baylor, who ended up coaching after the blaming a murder on a fake drug deal. Insane story. Maybe we can cover that one day in the off season. But I would not be shocked to see him end up at like a Stephen F. Austin or something.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
who knows?
It's gonna take a while.
Yeah,
I would say
as it should.
first place he needs to go is away. Like, I think the best move he can do is wait maybe a year, maybe try to find a way into like the AAU circuit, just from like it makes him hireable from like, man, this guy's like really in good connection with all of these recruits. He's not our head coach anymore, but he's on the staff at. I think that's his path.
Yeah.
But I hope he stumbles along the way and, he falls down some stairs, but whatever.
AAU, man. Did you guys know I
Is that
played
even a
AAU
thing?
ball? It's a true story.
Really?
I had no business being on the team, but I think the coach is just like my dad. So they let me go out there. I barely played. I had no business being on the team whatsoever. And we weren't like, this isn't like the brawny AAU team, but we would go up against teams that were like, we would look over during warmups and they would be doing like dribbling 2 balls at once and going between their legs. And just like, I was like, man, we're in trouble.
Oh, I remember playing basketball and like, growing up playing basketball, everyone's like seemingly pretty close to your level. And then there's just that one year where people start dunking. You're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I'm never going to be this guy. And that's when it kind of hits you that, basketball is probably not going to be in my future,
Yeah. Well, you didn't have the right attitude for
They're
it.
dunking in like middle school. And it's like, what is going on here?
You were purely a
Any team-
mid-range player.
I was a set shooter. I would drive to the rack and put one in on you, but I wasn't throwing it down.
Okay.
You know that.
Well, my kid got hurt at soccer practice yesterday.
Shit.
Oh, well.
Not hurt like bad, but had stopped down 2 kids crying. Like one would cry loud, and then the other would like respond cry. And they're like, I say soccer practice. He does this thing called soccer cubs, and it's basically like teaches him the most basic drills. And it's mainly me like carrying him around or dragging him up and down the indoor soccer arena. And he and another girl who's probably like a year older than him and a lot bigger than him just straight up collided. And it was right in the middle of the field. Me and the other dad were holding our kids. And like, we're kind of doing like the laugh, like, oh, it's okay, buddy. And then Rhodes has got tears and he's scream crying. And then she's scream crying. And I don't know if I'm supposed to apologize like vicariously for my son because he's the guy in this collision, and he ran into the young lady.
Did he get a red card?
He didn't get carded. No, it was no.
Mm.
It's a valid question. Typically, don't give those out at soccer cubs, but you got to think that's a possibility going forward. It was just an awkward deal. I didn't really know if I was supposed to apologize to the other dad because it was a mutual thing. It wasn't anybody's fault, but
I think when you have kids of that age and they collide, it's like you got to kind of get everybody stopped down. Let them both know, like even the best fall down sometimes.
Sure.
And occasionally even the wrong words seem to rhyme. Like, and once they realize that, out of the doubt that fills your mind in that moment, when they find a way to collide, like they understand.
what are you doing? What are you
Just
doing?
giving advice from a parental point of view.
Okay.
Were those lyrics or something?
I mean, yes, it clearly was. I didn't know what though. I knew he was doing something weird. Is that a Matchbox 20 song?
I believe it's one Howie Day.
Oh, okay.
Fuck is that?
You've stumped the Schwab.
Okay.
you've-
Well, the people out there are pausing this to go straight to their YouTube Music, Spotify, Apples, and go ahead and jam in some even the best fall down sometimes.
You saying real ones no?
Even the wrong words seem to rhyme.
No, not bad.
Yeah,
It's a lot better.
Yeah.
Better
There
than
you go.
when you do it. No
that's
offense.
bullshit. That's absolute bullshit.
We got a loaded
Will's
show.
lighting a lighter, listening to this right now. He's finding a candle wick, moving it aside, grabbing his long candle lighter, and just lighting it to this episode.
Will did come in here before the pod and say, can I shut this door? I'm about to turn on some jams.
Yeah. He was tired of listening to Dan Orlovsky, which we have on out in the bullpen right now.
Why do we do that? We don't like that
Oh.
stuff and we just leave it on.
I mean, ESPN's like the default channel we just turn it on to just for like background noise. And so eventually Orlovsky will hit the screen and we just don't change it early enough. That's how that happens.
Can I derail real quick and ask a question? Like, there are no more good background noise channels during the day. If there were ever any, like ESPN used to be a good go-to. For a while there, you could get away with like an HGTV or an CNBC, but you know exactly what you're getting if you go to any of those 3 outlets now. Like,
Liberal
I might be on
bias.
Smithsonian. Liberal bias, exactly. I might be on like Smithsonian as like my go-to. Hey, I'm not watching TV, but it's on channel.
No, this is a really good point because it was ESPN back when pretty much the only two non-sports center shows were PTI and Around the Horn. And, that was back in the day. You could fuck with it. Now you can't. Smithsonian's a good option. Dude, I'll just put on Cartoon Network sometimes. Not even for roads, like for myself. I'm not sitting down and watching it, but just I like having it on.
We're doing those 2 DJs we rotate in and out at those super dope locations.
Oh, you mean Remmer?
Rimmer.
Who was the other guy?
DJ
Randy? Oh, Randy tries to act like he doesn't know, like he's not into that shit.
Yeah, the DJs we put on, and they go to these like really dope, scenic locations, maybe like the Swiss Alps.
Like $10 million homes in Costa Rica, overlooking like the rainforest.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very chill. We're into it.
Yeah.
It's very vibey.
Okay.
You might
It's
see
like
that
a level above the default lo-fi focus channel that most people are watching, but I get it.
What can we say? We're eating good out here.
That's right.
Speaking of eating good, let's talk about our good friends over at DraftKings. The NFL playoff picture is locked in, and my go-to place for wild card round action is DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. To kick off the road to Super Bowl 57, new customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. Plus, all new and existing customers can get a no-sweat bet each day of the wild card round this weekend. A no-sweat bet, Dylan.
It's a no-sweat bet.
Just place any NFL bet of your choice, and if it loses, you'll get a free bet back up to $10. Action so good, why bet NFL playoffs anywhere else? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Thank you. That sounds very intriguing.
What did that Cowboy Bucks line open up at? Cowboys favored by 3?
I hadn't seen it yet.
Don't feel great about
You
it.
trying to get a little action?
I don't know if I'm going to probably steer clear of that. Just there's a lot going on. Maybe I'll emotionally hedge. But,
Okay.
at least I know I can do a no sweat bet because I'm pretty excited about that. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code WASHED. New customers can bet $5 on the NFL and get $200 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code WASHED. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions do apply. See show notes for details. So full disclosure, I went out
Cowboys
there.
-3.
What?
Cowboys -3. Might have moved already.
That's not great. I don't feel good about it on the road.
I don't know why you say that. They've been looking really good.
Okay. Let me just say this before we get into the sports. I walked out there while we had to take a little technical break. Not only is Will out there with tasty jams, he definitely has a candle lit at his desk.
That dude knows how to set a vibe. He is the candle guy.
Our office did smell. Will and I picked up salmon rice bowls from Loro right down the street before the pod. And as we're eating them, we realized like this is the smelliest thing that's ever been eaten in this office. Smellier than his burritos, Randy's it is. What, KJ? What are you laughing at? What's so funny?
I'm just enjoying the thought of like Salmon City office.
Yeah, you would have
That's
thought the Salmon
strictly all I
sisters
was
were in
thinking of.
here.
I brought salmon in one time and I got shit for it. And you guys just y'all double timed it.
We did. We double
salmoned.
we went double salmon.
Was it good?
They're calling us the Salmon Boys.
That place has small plates, man.
Dude, yeah, not enough of a fillet for your boy.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
It checked that omega-3 fatty acid box, but like there's some other boxes I'd like to check. KJ, what's up?
I was just going to say there aren't a lot of soft surfaces that would absorb like odors in that office. So I can see that when you microwave something, it's just going to bounce around. It's going to stick around there. That's not even any like.
Is that a thing?
Not even trying to make anything H.
Does a cushiony room make for a less smelly room? Is that what you're implying here? Is that a thing? I've never heard.
I feel like if I cook something up in an empty, like, a vacant office that nothing is in, which is not the case with the lodge, you will smell that stuff linger for longer than I feel like you would like in a house.
Sir, this is the people cave.
Maybe it's
the lodge
complete,
was our old office. You should know that by now.
Yeah, I feel like
Why are we doing
smells
people
would be more likely to dissipate there. This is terrible.
We got to get a
whatever.
We
It's
got to
bad
get a
wine
presenting
by default.
sponsor across the company so we can stop calling it the People Cave.
That'd be nice.
What if we get one? What if we get it's like the early bird and they're like, we want to stick with People Cave. Like it's the early bird People Cave.
What if it's something like Indeed, like they're in it fits into the category, like we're here to hire people at the People Cave. I don't know.
Yeah, if Indeed
They're local.
wants to
You can
drop
figure
the
that out.
bag,
Let's
we
put a
will-
pitch deck together.
We will absolutely let them drop the bag.
I mean, yeah, we'll call it whatever you want. We'll call it the fart cabin if we have to.
We'll call it the Scrotum Lodge. I don't care if they're gonna pay.
I don't think we're going to call it that.
Oh, but the fart cabin's in play, huh?
The scrotum
No,
lodge.
no. Now we'll stick with the People Cave. I'll hit up my good friend who's over at VRBO and see if she has any interest. Like once they're done, like sponsoring college football playoffs and doing actual big business.
Speaking of, I see here that somebody
we
wants to discuss our no party natty meal.
Yeah, I was sitting around thinking earlier, and I'm like, of all of the championships that I feel like we care quite a bit of and make quite a bit of, quite a bit of attention is paid to it. Like the Final Four gets more attention, I think, than sometimes the national championship in college basketball. World Series, since it's a multi-game series, like I don't think people celebrate game fours if it's going to be a sweep like the way you would the Super Bowl.
It's also
Singular
baseball.
championship. You know what I mean? Like whenever it's a series like basketball, baseball, hockey, and it is also baseball. I see what you're doing there. You don't throw parties the way you would for the Super Bowl.
Facts.
There's no excuse for college football not to have that sort of vibe, with the exception of the fact that it is a Monday. So with that said, do you all have a go-to like, hey, I'm not going to a Super Bowl party, or, it's me and the fam here watching the Natty tonight. Like, are you doing anything because the national championship is going to be food-wise?
It's a great excuse to not cook. Zockard might get played. Haven't checked it in with the boss at home, but we're on Zaw watch. It is like the Super Bowl in that, like, I kind of feel I should be doing something for it. And like usually with Super Bowl, it's if I'm not going to like a party, if I'm not going to watch it with friends, I will compensate by ordering a fairly dope meal, whether that's some Jets pizza or maybe something a little nicer. Now, tonight, I think kickoff is like 6:30, and I don't know if that's actual hard kickoff or like pregame starts, but they're saying 6:30, awkwardly 4:30 Pacific time. So that should be a lot of fun if you're trying to get to the game in LA. But yeah, I don't know I don't have plans yet, but I could see Alyssa and we cooked quite a bit over the weekend, so this might be his all night.
What's up with the Super Bowl being the only championship where people like gather at homes to eat and celebrate? It's the only one. Across all sports, all leagues, only one. I mean, yes, people go out to bars and stuff for national championships, but the home gathering where like people bring dishes and cook and all that shit, it's only the Super Bowl. Anyway, it being Monday night definitely changes things, right?
Yeah.
Because it's Monday.
It's got to be
night.
the biggest factor.
Monday stink, baby. I'm cooking baked spaghetti tonight, which was an accident. We didn't plan it for the national championship, but it's spaghetti night at the Chivalry Crib, so I'm making baked spaghetti. But yeah, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
What'd
I
you
don't
guys do
hate
for the Frisco Bowl?
I didn't celebrate the Frisco Bowl.
Oh, just walking tacos, Frito pies around the house, everybody for the Frisco Bowl.
Are you Frito pie or walking taco?
Well, aren't they different?
Frito pie, 1,000%. I'm not even sure what a walking taco is, except for the fact that that's what like Fritos puts on their like Costco box that said,
It's
whatever.
It's a taco.
I don't know.
It's a taco inside a Frito bag, right?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, the ingredients of a taco, but you just eat it with a spoon or maybe a spork from a chip bag. You walk with it.
I mean, I guess, what are we calling a Frito pie? Just chili and cheese?
And Fritos, of
And
course.
Fritos, yeah.
But you eat it out. You don't eat it out of a bag.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, eat it out of the little the little cardboard thingama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who you got tonight?
You were absolutely right, but you couldn't have sounded like you were more
I know.
wrong
Well,
or
I
less
think
confident
I'm
the whole
right,
way
but
through.
I'm not
I'm like, this
100%
all
on
makes
it.
sense.
Dylan, you want to do me a fave?
And what am I doing
Pull
wrong?
Kurt back. You're kind of talking over the mic, and it's kind of going in and out.
I have more mic problems than anybody.
There we go. Perfect.
I've been podcasting for 7 years.
I'm just trying to dress you down in public here.
I'd like to propose that if it's not a Zaw night, which it absolutely is, wings being somewhere in the top 3, the Natty needs to be a national nacho night. Like, it just feels right. You can do it at home. You can do it on your own. There's probably few places that you're ordering nachos to go.
Not a to-go food.
Really seems like, yeah, it's like an assemble it yourself if you do it, or you're getting the 15 containers like to-go fajitas, which we all know is a bad bet.
Yeah, you're risking flaccid chip once you get the nachos. You know what I'm talking about? You pick it up and it's flopped over like a greasy slice of New York za.
Here's the thing you should know about me. I love a flaccid chip.
It
I
compromises.
do too.
I love a soggy nacho, man.
I like to mix it in, but like I also like a loaded cho that's got a jalapeno,
Dude.
some sour cream, and maybe like some chicken fajita meat.
those cafeteria nachos we used to get in middle school with like the worst, quality cheese you've ever had in your life. And
It wasn't even cheese.
Yeah, like the
They
last
pumped it out.
the last 1/3 of those nachos are just you have to eat them with a spoon almost. They're just so soggy. I love those.
You did not want to be in the 8th grade field house on meat and bean nacho day. I can tell you that.
No, it was dangerous.
You didn't want to be on any day because it was all axe and no showers.
No showers whatsoever. The one guy that showered got made fun of. So stupid. He's actually doing the right
So you're
thing.
showering in boxers.
It's so
Like, you didn't even wear boxers, but you own boxers to take showers in.
God, this is all hitting so close to home.
Don't look at my dick.
So like we just did college football and we didn't even lead with Malik Hornsby going to Texas State. Before we jump into that, which is obviously the story of the day. What do you got? You guys like anybody tonight? You guys?
You gotta think Georgia has a pretty good chance to win this game.
That's awesome.
For two reasons.
Okay.
I think number one, it's a very well coached team.
Fuego.
Number two, they have a lot of talent.
I mean, look, I can't argue with you
They
there.
have a lot of talent. No disrespect to TCU, has already exceeded expectations this year. A hell of a season. I think it ends tonight.
Yeah, they exceeded expectations when they won 7 games.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've had a nice little cherry on top. KJ,
Which would be a better
I'm-
story? TCU, the Cinderella winning the Natty, or like the Stetson Bennett story coming from JUCO, being like 37 years old and winning his second Natty.
I don't think he's 37.
26? What is he? 27?
Is he that old?
Yeah. I'm gonna look it up. Make
Well,
sure.
I know he's 5'11". That's my shocking fact about Stetson Bennett. But more on him later in the QB room talk. But
25.
Georgia, then community college, then back to, or junior college, then back to Georgia. I think it's a great story. At some point in time, TCU can't still be the Cinderella story. Like, yes, they stayed in game or kept the other team in games. Not like they were in fully control, but like they had a lot of close games and pulled a lot of games out at the end, namely the Baylor one. It was tremendous, but they've been consistently good over the last 4 or 5 weeks of the year, including in their game against Michigan with some help from the refs. And I feel like we can't have it both ways. And I'm not saying you're at fault here, but I feel like we both say the Big 12 was good this year, or at least respectable. They were atop the Big 12. Granted, they split games with Kansas State. How Cinderella really is that, Like, this is not TCU of 10 years ago.
sure.
They're equipped with a head coach who came from a very prestigious university, place full of wonderful human beings, and even better players, an atmosphere. Plucked him right out of SMU, and it's just turnkey success from there.
I'd argue this is as Cinderella as it gets for D1 football, because I mean, so many times like the ceiling for teams, like even you can go undefeated and not, and just totally be left out. And of course, the playoff has changed that to some degree, like the BCS system. Too many really good teams never had a shot to even win a title. So I think this is about as Cinderella as it gets in modern day college football.
Yeah, I can agree with that. What was it, 3 years ago when Washington made the playoff? And it just felt like nobody even considers the fact that Washington was in a playoff in that recent
That is pretty wild.
history. I don't think people give Oklahoma credit for making the playoff a couple times. Granted, they got like trounced both years, but like, I don't think anybody looks. Oklahoma has a history that goes well beyond those losses, but I don't think anybody looks at Washington on that level or looks at Oklahoma with having that recent success, you know. So if TCU would have got run last week or whatever, you know, a month ago, we probably would be like, oh, it was bound to happen. They were a flash in the pan.
I just realized today that TCU.
So I agree.
That TCU claims a national championship. Did you know that they have one?
1938.
1938. And of course, the next year, Texas A&M won their one and only. It's been 84 years.
Who's got the more legitimate claim?
A&M, because half their student body was in the war, right?
Okay.
Wow.
See what he's going.
The entire corps was all fighting.
KJ going after the troops again.
Yeah, that's KJ.
That's him for you. They would be the first Big 12. They already are the first and only Big 12 team to win a playoff game in the modern setup.
Yeah. Okay.
Very
Makes
interesting.
sense. No, you didn't get it done.
No, not even close. Actually, did they play a close game? Did Kyler and Baker both get run? Baker definitely did.
I
right?
thought the game in California was close that Baker was in. It was Georgia, Oklahoma. I thought it was close, but maybe the final score wasn't so close. I could be completely talking out on my backside here, which was the TUA national championship one. Go ahead. Yeah, whatever. Who do you feel like is going to win tonight, David? While I look that up. Or who do you want?
I think it is going to be Dawgs. I think TCU covers. I think they are just too much. But I bet against TCU a number of times and obviously been wrong a number of times. But I like TCU getting 12.5. Like they are explosive enough to keep it, 2-score game, 1 or 2-score game, I think. What's the word on the running back, Kendre Miller?
He will warm up, game time decision, follow up 54-48 double overtime featuring Sony Michel, Hot Rod Blankenship, Nick Chubb, Marquise Brown.
Oh, boy.
All sorts of names in that, and Baker Mayfield, of course.
Okay. I had that wrong. I apologize.
I picked in our big boy. What do we call what?
Dip pick.
Dip pick. Thank you, God. I'm such an idiot. I did pick Georgia to cover that. It was 12 at the time. I don't like that pick anymore. I do think TCU keeps it closer than 12 points. So I like to at least go on record saying that I would walk back that if I could.
Okay.
But I can't.
The record will reflect that.
Yes, it will.
But you can't amend your pick. I apologize.
No, it's quite all right. I'll stick with it.
KJ, do you have any notes on the quarterback room in Georgia?
I do. As I was going back to mentally revise whatever pick I made, because honestly, I don't remember. You know what? For the record, I went with TCU in the first half, 31.5 points. I went with the under. So look at me rooting for TCU to cover tonight. Dylan is the only one who took Georgia. That is notable. And the only one who took the over in the first half of 31.5. So he's leading us all, so we might be wise to listen to him. He's in first place. Anyways, as I was doing my research for tonight, I was like, okay, what kind of random things could affect this game? Played at SoFi Stadium. Weather's not going to be a real big factor. We do have that one injury to talk about with Kendre Miller.
Kendre? Probably
Kendre. I know you're probably right. I haven't heard it said that many times with their running back. But thinking back to, was it 2012? When's the Garrett Gilbert Bowl?
2009 was the Natty.
Okay, 2009 is the one that I'm thinking of. I guess Garrett Gilbert might be winning a bowl game for SMU in 2012.
That's
but
probably right. Certainly didn't win one for Texas.
No, he did not.
Limp dick.
Getting hurt, having Colt McCoy get hurt in the national championship game obviously altered the trajectory of the Texas program for years. If we lost either quarterback due to injury in this game, I was like, I have no idea who the backups are. If you're a diehard Georgia fan or TCU fan, you might know. You probably even know Chandler Morris, son of Chad Morris, former SMU head coach, is the backup quarterback at TCU because he started the first game of the season and was slated to be their starting quarterback until he got hurt in game one. The backups for Georgia, again, these might all be 5-star quarterbacks. I'm just an idiot for not knowing. It's likely the case. I might just have some problematic thoughts on the names of the quarterback room. we all know Stetson Bennett. Didn't realize he was 5'11". Shouts our short kings. You know that means he's 5'9.5". Stetson Bennett the fourth, to be clear.
Jeez.
Backed up by one Carson Beck, who's backed up by Brock Vandegrift, who's backed up by Gunnar Stockton.
Okay.
And if that doesn't sound like an HOA board in the suburbs, I don't know what does.
It sounds like the roster of a prize recruiting class at like Alabama State or something, or Georgia State. I don't even know if Alabama State's a real school. Just like a southern like top tier. Like this is,
Yeah, it sounds like
Pledge class, to be
it
clear.
sounds like Karl Rove's dream team, like to run against incumbents. Like these names. I mean, I'm trying to think. I'm team. I don't know. Stetson Bennett's hard to beat because of the fourth. It's very difficult. But Gunnar Stockton, that could also play like Canada hockey. But Brock Vandegrift sounds just hella wealthy. That's generational. That's like my dad invented Bluetooth speakers.
We're talking 2 4-stars and a 5-star among this, aside from Stetson Bennett here, of course.
Is Carson Beck the 5-star?
No, that would be Brock Vandegrift, who is from Bogart, Georgia, of course.
Okay.
Carson Beck
so
is
not a
from-
real 5-star.
Carson Beck is from Jacksonville, Florida,
What's
which
that mean?
not many people realize that Jacksonville, Florida is actually the largest city by land area within the lower 48.
Really?
Yeah. And
I can't really.
Gunnar is from Tiger, Georgia, which is a town called Tiger, apparently.
That should be what they just call Augusta now.
Go Tiger. Go Tigers.
Had so much success there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He did.
Fair.
He did.
Yeah, I've got no other problematic thoughts about it, with the exception of I'm sure they're all highly coveted recruits. It's just a funny list of names. Surprisingly, all from Georgia and Florida. That's impressive. I think TCU's third quarterback, not Max, can't remember his name. It's from like Naperville, Illinois, so Chicago area. 4-star quarterback. So if it does come down to backups, sure. Give me Carson Beck to carry the Dawgs to the Natty. That's all I've got on that. Can we do presentation real quick, or at least television and all the other accoutrement for the national championship?
We definitely can, yes.
Jonas Brothers and Mr. 305, Mr. Worldwide, Pitbull. Are you excited?
You know,
No.
I got no problem with this. I respect the Jonas. I respect Mr. Worldwide. Is this 2 separate performances, or is this what the kids call a collab?
I believe it's just they are the performers over the weekend. So I don't even know if both will be on TV. I think Jonas Brothers will be on TV, but you'll likely get like part of Pitbull during pregame and Jonas Brothers at halftime or something.
Dylan, you sounded pretty negative. Why don't you go ahead and explain
No, I mean,
yourself,
I don't have
you
a
negative
problem.
SOB?
I don't have a problem with these performers. They're fine. I'm not going to make sure I'm planted on the couch to make sure I don't miss them, though. I'll be totally fine if I don't catch any of the Jonas Brothers or Mr. Worldwide doing. I don't even know what songs he does.
Do you think the halftime show will be better?
What?
What?
You don't even know what songs that Pitbull does?
I mean, off the top of my head, no. Does he do Gasolina? He doesn't, does he?
What gave
First
it away?
Howie
The
Day,
reaction?
now this?
I don't listen to Pitbull.
Fireball.
I'm sorry.
Probably Fireball. You know Fireball.
Yeah.
Sure.
If you've been to a wedding in the last 5 years, you've heard Fireball. Last 10 years, really.
I've never streamed a single song of his in my entire life. Like I know who he is, but I've caught his music. Sure.
Do you
but I
even
don't-
freak dance?
Not to Pitbull? Do it to like T-Pain and shit.
Okay, well,
Okay.
good save.
Fair.
It's fair.
Kick save right at the end. I can't say this gets me excited. Like, we're less than a year removed from Dr. Dre, Kendrick Lamar, Snoop, Eminem, Mary J. Blige.
That
at
was
the
the Super Bowl, though.
But Kendrick Lamar did the national championship 3 years ago at some, like, outside of the Georgia Dome or whatever they call it in Atlanta. So they've done, not that it has to be hip hop to get my attention, but like the Jonas Brothers seems like, hey, they've got an album coming out and someone above someone's pay grade was like, we're choosing them, not like the viewers chose it. Like, what's going on? Like, I'd rather you play Fallout Boy 45 times as opposed to like feed me what you want me to like the rest of the year. I just don't like that vibe. Pitbull just seems like it's, for the party. I'm okay with that.
Randy, I need you to explain why you look so disgusted right now.
Oh, I personally think that Pitbull deserves his own Super Bowl show with Flo Rida.
Okay.
With Flo Rida.
That would be, and Kesha, that'd be an amazing
And
episode.
Kesha.
You know what? It'd be
Your boy
epic.
fucks with Kesha.
I can't say nothing bad about Kesha.
Didn't the Jonas Brothers just do Thanksgiving too?
I believe they did, yeah.
Oh, that is true. They did get the Cowboys game for Thanksgiving. Good callback.
Do you think this will be better or worse than the halftime show of the Dallas Mavericks Oklahoma City Thunder last night in OKC, which was just a jazzercise class?
Really?
It was like a local jazzercise class. So you had ladies and a few fellows from all walks of life just out there doing jazzercise for the crowd, like almost like halftime at the Duncanville girls basketball game when we would, like, the third grade class would perform a song to the Globetrotters music, which is something I did. I have that video. Maybe I'll share it one day. Where it's just like, oh, we just brought in a local act and we kind of mailed it in. Here's jazzercise. KJ, your thoughts?
I only stand Red Panda in the circuit that is like between first and second quarter and third and fourth quarter performances for NBA events. If you're not going to roll out just like some drum corps or Bucket Boys, I don't want to see it. Just run funny videos at half and let me go get a hot dog.
Just run Chive TV.
Oh my God.
There's the background TV we've been missing.
Parks is big into Jive TV. Anytime we're at a restaurant that have it on, he's just glued. I'm like, dude, you gotta stop.
Oh my
I'll
God.
support this crap.
It's just epic
anyway.
fails.
Did your moms ever get into jazzercise?
No.
I think my mom went to some classes. It was like, her form of exercise. Yeah. Okay.
I've got no beef with jazzercise. I just don't know if I need it at halftime. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. In the group
Depends who it
text,
is.
you were more concerned that there was no, headshot vetting that went on before they
No,
assembled the
it's
group.
not true. You were the one. You were wanting binders full of women.
I did read it and think you meant that Jazz were doing this, and I was like, "This is a terrible pun. This
No,
benefits nobody."
it was just. I don't know. Where do you want to go from here? We want to talk Lovie Smith.
Before we switch to NFL, and before we talk about our good friends over at AG, let's talk about the tattoo heard around the world. You want to do that now?
Let's do it
Or
now.
we're still in college?
Let's do it now. We're in college. We could talk it. Randy, if you don't mind, Oregon football head coach Dan Lanning got a new tattoo. Interesting. Let's see what it is. I wonder if he got something like to commemorate his time at Oregon, or maybe.
Or everywhere he's ever been.
Oh,
Yeah, it is
Oh.
a tattoo of his wife. Is that
Bare-
correct?
bare chested,
Bare chested.
BARE.
Yeah, it's cut off just above the nip though, so no nip is actually showing. But
Kind of a cuck move.
His,
Not to
his
show
nip
nip.
is showing.
so she
Yes,
has
it is.
the tattoo shows her with her own tattoos.
His nip is so gross.
His nipple provides scale here too. To get the idea of how big this tattoo
Yes.
actually is, and it is along his entire left side.
We're going pelvic line all the way up
Above the
to
nip.
like lat, like
the
upper
nip.
lat.
Yeah. Anyway, his wife, the tattoos of his wife, who has her own tattoos. So it's like a tattoos within tattoos. She has Pitt, as in Pittsburgh, on her breast. She
But
has
they
a
cut
state-
off one of the T's between the T's.
Yeah, because
So it's just
it's
Pitt.
in the cleavage.
Beyond
so
the
you can't
T's.
see it. There you go. The outline of the state of Texas above the other breast.
Hell yeah, I've got a similar tat.
And then in cursive it says Caden Niles Titan.
I
Don't know
won't-
what- don't
not-
know what that means.
Not going to comment on any names because there's probably
Guessing
a
these are
story.
kids.
Maybe they're the kids.
Okay. Caden Niles and Titan. Okay.
Shout out to Titan.
There's a boomerang on her neck.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, mate. I don't know what the main neck design is there though, but in the middle is a
That's organs.
That's the Oregon helmet
okay.
logo.
Okay.
The wings.
Oh, okay. In the middle of that is a yellow ribbon, which is for breast cancer.
I was going to say the
Soldiers.
troops.
Troops. breast cancer is pink. Okay, thank you for truce. In Alabama, A on her cheek.
Yeah, in the teardrop Post Malone
Yeah.
area.
The number's 816, I believe. And then the other one I can't really make out. 33 to, it's like a score, 33 to something.
Yeah, I believe it is the score of the national title game that they won when he was defensive coordinator. I'm sorry, the Georgia-Alabama score, I want to say, SEC title game.
Okay.
Gotta hope it works out long term with him and this young lady. Just because this is going to be a tough one to get removed or to alter. I don't really know what you would do here.
You can't change Alex to Alexis for the next woman that you're dating or anything like that. There's no pivot here.
Yeah, you can't change this one.
I'll be honest, I didn't notice the scale until I realized the nipple, like as we started talking about this. And I'm just floored. And shout out to the tattoo artist here. Not only is this great work, but a couple things. One, I think he's sneaky trying to help out Dan Lanning here. The arch of this, woman's image is cleavage. I think it's like also positioned in a manner that kind of gives him that V-cut look, like sneaky, accentuates his hip bone to be like, I'm kind of cut, kind of got a six-pack going here with that curve.
It's not doing that. I don't see it.
But then I've got some questions. If maybe Caden, Niles, Titan aren't their kids, maybe they're recruits, which that's a power play. And the shading around her jawline, if you look closely, it could be like the outline of a skyline. And if that's the case, that's some super meta shit. If it's like the city of, I don't know, Mobile, Alabama, where they met.
I see what you mean.
I don't judge tattoos generally, unless it's like, you're an American History X tattoos or something, and then I do judge them heavily. The quality on this is just amazing.
Yeah, it's a good tattoo.
Like, this was probably expensive. If I'm a recruit or a recruit's family member and he comes into my home, like, hey, nice to meet you, coach. Before we get into it, show us the tat.
Oh, you got to.
You have to show them, right? You don't post this on the soch if you're not expecting to show it to the kids.
If you play on a team with AJ McCarron, you demand that you get a picture with his chest tat before you do anything on that team. Like, if you're only going to be there 6 hours, your first book of business is, I need a selfie with AJ McCarron's tat.
AJ McCarron's tat was probably, up until this moment, and maybe still is, the most inexplicable college football tat. Of course, we're talking about just the entire chest coverage, which you just don't see coming. But this is up there too.
His is shocking, truly. It covers his entire chest.
This is the head coach, and he's only in his second year. Like, the amount of security you have in your job at this point is not high. You did have a tremendous recruitment, but committing the entire neckline to your present school is a decision. Like, I don't know what to say there.
Well, that one's a tattoo within a tattoo, so it's not like it's on his neckline. But I see your point.
AJ's just always looked like a dad on vacation, so just the Chet tat is just inexplicable on him. But shout out to him.
Fair.
Hey, he locked down Catherine Webb, so.
And there's Catherine Webb. That's my Brett. Big game Brent. What do we want to do here? You want to do a little NFL, or do we want to talk about our good friends at Athletic Greens? I want to talk about it.
Let's do that.
Hey, let me ask you this before we get into it. Did you take your AG1 this morning? Yes or no?
Yes, I did. I promise you. Okay. It's the first thing I did this morning.
It's a product we use every day, every morning.
No better way to start your day, David.
Optimize immune system, better gut health, more energy. If you hate taking pills and vitamins like I think most people do, and you want a supplement that actually tastes great, and you want to see what the hype's about, check out Athletic Greens, the AG1. You're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help start your day right. The special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging, all the things. First thing I do, wake up, walk to the kitchen, I grab a packet, pop it open, put it in the shaker, 6-7 ounces of water, maybe even 8 if I'm feeling wild. Shake it up.
You do the packets, huh?
I do the packets.
I'm scooping.
I ran out of the scoop.
yeah,
I'm a
scoop
scooper.
boy.
I'm a packet guy.
Okay. I won't judge you.
I feel great. I do it on an empty stomach, and I think it absorbs better.
Yeah.
And it's just knowing that I don't have to take a bunch of pills to get my daily allotment of so many things, so
Sneaky.
75 things.
Sneaky tastes good too.
Sneaky tastes good. It's lifestyle friendly too, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free. And it contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything while still tasting good. That's crazy because it, like Dylan said, it does taste great, supports mental clarity and alertness. We are huge fans. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That is it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/bang. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/bang to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. So Lovie got let go. Do we want to start with Lovie?
Is it because he won?
I
a
think,
football game?
I think it is.
Yeah, I think Black Monday coaching carousel, I've always said, is one of my favorite parts about the offseason college football. NFL, I don't care as much, but I was glued to Red Zone yesterday afternoon because the NFL lines up all their games that matter for playoff impact, like at the same time. I think that's a good bit. What wasn't thought to be a big game was the fact that the Bears went into yesterday as the second pick overall, second worst
Correct.
record. They lost pretty quickly, pretty easily to the Vikings. I don't think Justin Fields even played. And the Texans and Colts kind of dragged on. What should definitely be Jeff Saturday's last game.
No, I think he did a pretty good job. Sorry.
And what everyone thought was going to be the Texans just kind of going out there, giving it a good old effort and, go home empty-handed.
It's the
But
stuff
Lovie
of,
had other plans.
it's the stuff of like a Hollywood football movie where you've got the coach who knows he's a lame duck and just got to lose this game, and he goes for 2, which that is the right play, by the way. Don't play for overtime. Last game of the season, no need. Either win it there or you lose it there. And they won it there, and now the Houston Texans have the second pick.
I have a question about tanking. KJ, you might know the answer to this better than us, as we didn't play football at a high level. Everyone knows what tanking is and why you do it. It's for a higher draft pick, right? Is this something that's like discussed among coaching staffs in locker rooms? Do players, are they also on board with the tanking? Because as that game was starting to wind down and it became clear that it was going to be a close finish, is it a situation where the owner's box just like starts to panic, like calls down like to Lovie Smith, like, hey man, respect what you're doing here, but we got to lose this game. Like we can't risk losing the #1 overall pick for a meaningless win at the end of the regular season. What are there conversations going on, or Lovie Smith is just supposed to know? Like, how does that work, really?
There was a discussion last week regarding whether or not Ron Rivera was aware that his team could get eliminated by the outcomes of that week, and he was a little bit surprised.
Not sure I understand.
Yeah, okay, I bet. Sorry, Siri wanted to chime in. And you got to think that when you're in position for the first overall pick, that there's an opportunity, or that there are discussions about your draft board beginning to happen between the coaches, the GM, and the owners, like even if it's only preliminary talks, because the scouts probably have a weekly discussion every week. So you're probably having some sort of talks about that. So Lovie knew.
Yeah.
Did Lovie give a fuck? Clearly not.
And this is like going to be a pretty big deal because the Bears, having the #1 overall pick now, don't need a quarterback. So
Correct.
they can obviously, trade down and it's going to, I mean, obviously the Texans being the #2 pick, they're going to get whichever quarterback is not taken 1 overall, which is, I don't know, maybe CJ Stroud. I'm not sure. But it's a big deal because they're not going to get their #1 choice for quarterback.
The general sentiment
Most likely.
the sentiment in my group text, which is fantasy league stuff, all Houston guys mostly, is like, first of all, they were like, what are we doing? Second, they're like, well, we'll just tank again next year for Caleb Williams, and they're fine with it. I'm just like, man, that is such a tough place to be.
Oh no, they're going to take either Bryce Young or CJ Stroud.
Yeah,
I
they'll
would
still
think.
come away with the quarterback unless Will Levis, I don't know. The Kentucky quarterback's going to get drafted too early, although he may be good, but I think he's going to get overdrafted, probably end up 1 or 2. I think they take a quarterback unless we find out there's a tackle that just makes too much sense.
Right.
And somehow they get built out of that position. But they've got, I believe, a couple of firsts. I don't know. We'll get into that later. But yeah, Lovie actively making the decision to put the team in the position to win. Like, I don't think you can fault him.
I love it. It's
whatsoever.
It's amazing. It's amazing, and I would love to be a part of or know what was said afterward when he was let go. He obviously he already knew. I don't think it was a secret that they were going to let him go.
I love that move then.
But God, that's great. Pretty delicious. Not the most delicious thing to happen yesterday.
What would that be?
Depending on your rooting interests. Dan Campbell,
Knocked A-Raj.
the final, potentially the final game, Aaron Rodgers in a Packers uniform. Don't really care about the pageantry of all that. KJ, I know you were a big fan of the camera shots after following him around the field, but
we didn't need lingering Cobb and Rodgers like hugging each other halfway down the hallway as if they just lost in the Super Bowl. Like, this was their second stint together and they lost in the regular season. Like, move on. Like, locally, all of the media coverage was like, if this is Aaron's last game, like, you know, what's the decision is, Jordan? Well, if the guy, like, they don't care that much. They care. They just don't want to be bad is all they care about. But about the Lions, are the Lions, you know, the go-to favorites? I was going to say, are they the new Seahawks? Because I feel like, I know we hate Russell Wilson now, but when the Seahawks were in the Super Bowl and really good at the time, Legion of Boom, Marshawn Lynch, I feel like they were a really likable team with very few people who hated them. You might have hated Pete Carroll, but you didn't hate the Seahawks. Could the Lions be that team, or are they the Titans in disguise, which, in my opinion, I think some people, me mainly, are over the Vrabel love?
I just think they're like, I mean, everyone loves an underdog story, and they just become like lovable losers at this point, especially since Hard Knocks gave us a glimpse into who Dan Campbell is, and I think he won a lot of people over. So people are just like naturally rooting for him. I think if he were if he were the head coach of, you know, the Bills, it would be totally different. But since it's the Lions, who have been historically very, very bad, and yeah, it's just lovable losing franchise.
I think there were a lot of people secretly wanting the Lions to like be a complete failure just because of the approach he took, the Hard Knocks. I feel like they're not. I could be wrong, but I just feel like they're not like a big analytics team. They strike me as more of an old school football mentality coaching staff, and I kind of love it and it also the fact that they knew they were eliminated when they played that game, and he got them up to go out there. That's pretty impressive. I know KJ's a big momentum guy, and he was saying like, this momentum is going to carry them into next year, so watch out. That's something he was saying often yesterday. But no, this is good. This is a good dub. I think Goff is a good quarterback. I feel like people wrote him off a little prematurely. He's been good. He's not elite, but he's a good quarterback.
Took the Rams to the Super Bowl.
Facts.
Very early on in his career.
Big facts.
Yeah.
He's
not bad.
I mean, there's nothing bad about being the Eli Manning, Stetson Bennett, Jimmy Garoppolo mold. Like, that's a very successful person to be. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. Not everybody can be 5,000 yards a year, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, not everybody can be Malik Hornsby in high school in Missouri City.
Eat him up, Dave.
More on that in a minute. We don't even have to talk about what happened in D.C. yesterday or wherever the fuck they played.
Do we?
I
Wait,
just
did you say we don't have to, or we're going to have to?
I said we don't.
Okay, yeah, I agree. I don't think we have to.
It wasn't
We've
whatever.
got time to talk about them.
Absolute
and
dis-
the Bucks.
Just don't really understand why you even if you're not gonna run your full offense like in an attempt to like not show the Bucks that your opponent next week anything. Why have your starters out there the whole game? I just don't get that whatsoever.
I'm seeing some really bad quarterback play right now, Dave. I hate to say that, man.
Is it because he went BOGO on a pick six?
He threw what absolutely should have been a pick six on an out route.
He ran it back to prove a
And
point.
The very next play threw the identical pass on the same side of the field, and the guy this time just happened to catch it as he should have the first time. He threw 2 pick sixes in 2 plays. One of them was caught though.
Yeah, the other
Like,
one,
he
the
threw
only
a better interception the second time. Like the first one was just a bad pass to the DB. The second was like, oh, here you go. Let me fix it for you.
The DB was like, wait, he's not really doing this again, right? And then he did. And he's like, oh, okay, I'm just going to catch the ball and score.
Yeah, I'm just gonna not fall down on this one.
Oh, he's giving me another chance.
He ran it back.
Thank you.
It's the
Dak.
new Dak Prescott segment.
He's
Run it
become
back.
Very interception prone at the worst time, and my hopes for the playoffs are just in the absolute shitter right now.
I believe he leads the league in interceptions and also missed 5 games this year.
That's not what you want typically.
No.
In other news, AFC South champions, go Jags. Second half wasn't that impressive, but to win on a fumble return for a touchdown was, that was exciting. I was a little concerned with how quickly they confirmed the call. A little surprised they called that a fumble, but I will take it. We're going to be faced with a lot of teams with like questionable quarterback situation. Brock Purdy starting in the playoffs is like a 2-seed team. That's happening. If the Dolphins don't get Tua back, who knows what they're rolling out there? If Lamar's not back, who knows what they're rolling out there? So the playoffs are ugly if some of these quarterbacks aren't healthy. So more on that on what is our final scheduled live stream this Thursday night.
Damn, full preview.
Of this season.
Full sneaky pre.
Don't be sad because it's over. Or something.
Smile because Dave got his dick kicked in dip picks.
It's the last one
of the year.
Where else we want to go here? Do we want to just go right into T-State? We just got to at least give a shout out, a nod to the Cats. Malik Hornsby.
GJ Kinney, new head coach. T-State is just absolutely getting it done on the recruiting trail right now.
He is not recruiting only transfers. He is actually, although this was a transfer, but still, he's actually done a good job of recruiting kids from Texas high schools. Malik Hornsby was the quarterback at Missouri City a few years ago, put up huge numbers, might be the fastest quarterback in college football.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know how much success he had at Arkansas as their backup, but he chose T-State, which was a big shocker. He's a former 4-star. It's a big get. So I'm happy. I'm stunting a little bit on the TL. I think he was getting recruited.
Rumors.
Yeah.
Matt Rule was recruited him while he was at Baylor, and now was trying to recruit him at Nebraska. Apparently Baylor was looking at him, and he went with the Cats.
According to 247 Sports, shout out Mike Roach. Yeah, he was a 4-star national number 201 in the entire country, which is Texas State does not recruit top 200, 250 athletes, folks. It just does not happen.
Yeah, that's well regarded. Sounds ridiculous to say 201, but like whatever. ESPN's rankings are like the ESPN 300. When you've got 130 teams recruiting against one another, he's probably top 40 quarterbacks or whatever of that year. And at 4 stars, like that's not it's not an easy get for T-State. Some say it's Don's Fish Camp that put him over the line and thought about being able to get out to Bartondale whenever he wanted. And I've got nothing but respect for him. We don't have a ton in Sports Party, but I did share something with Randy as we were talking. Natties and awful tats. So if Randy can pull this up for the good folks at home and you there in studio, you might have to zoom it in if you can on your end, Randy.
Oh no.
What am I looking at exactly?
That appears to be KJ.
I see that. I see KJ.
It's under the influence, KJ.
That's not the part.
I was just tired that day. Who knows? This is me on Coca-Cola Beach, or what was formerly known as, I don't know, Coca-Cola Beach in one South Padre Island, Texas, where only the best things in the world happen. With a good friend of mine who not only has that tattoo, which is a 2-scale replica of a Keystone Light. For some reason, I was thinking it was a Natty Ice that he tattooed on his back, but that is a Keystone Light. But I believe the following year, you made the decision that you never do, and that's to go back to South Padre the second year. And he has a tattoo of all of our friends' faces, like in pencil drawing on his thigh, like spring break, like 07.
You being one of them?
So I've requested that photo. I will share it with the world if I can get that photo, but I don't have it.
That's amazing.
What would inspire someone
files
to get a tattoo of the worst beer that's ever existed on their back? I will not understand.
Maybe he lost a podcast bet, Dylan.
And didn't welch on it.
And didn't welch. And
Good for him.
This guy probably has a bleached butthole too.
Oh, good for this guy.
I'm sorry, guys.
Shouts to Mike.
I know I haven't been the back half of this pod has been tough for me. I cannot get over the Texas State stuff because you don't see them get 4 and 5 stars, and when we do get them, they usually go Zeta.
Okay.
Jesus, David. Why you gotta look at me when you say that, man?
I had to get it in.
You're gonna hop onto
I'd already committed to it.
T-State message boards?
No,
Start
I'm not
talking
on the
about
T-State.
Malik?
No, I am in a group text with Mike Roach and you and KJ, and
That's all you need.
it's pretty much.
He's going to
that
start
scratches it.
charging you for your requests for additional and like behind the paywall information via group.
By the way,
text.
Needs my Duncanville intel.
That dude, he's like Ari Gold. He has like just a phone in each hand at all times. I'm pretty sure he responds within like 10 seconds with the exact answer you're looking for. He's very plugged in.
He is a quick responder.
Yes.
He is what they call a first responder in the Texas high school recruiting game.
Yes.
Shout out to him. That's why we respect him so much.
Something we missed really quickly, which I do think is at least worth getting feedback on. Cliff Kingsbury also fired today
Yes.
for the Arizona Cardinals and their GM stepping aside. I did like the thought that maybe A&M, jumped the gun a little bit on hiring Bobby Petrino away from UNLV, which I thought was just delicious. I think Cliff back in College Station, I would have been okay with it, but you got to think he ends up on TV somewhere, and then who knows what he's going to do after that. But
You think he goes college or he stays NFL?
I feel like if he stays NFL, he's a coordinator.
I feel like once you go from college to NFL where you don't have to recruit, it's like a game changer for these guys, and they never want to go back to college. That's the way Nick Saban obviously did it. Some people do it, but Harbaugh did it too. But
Harbaugh's about to go back.
I know. Like the recruiting aspect, I feel like that's just such a grind for these guys that they don't want to have to do it.
Yeah. And
with
you end up having
NIL and everything else, like I wonder how
NIL too.
like if some people think it's a good thing, if they're like, hey, this is a tool I can use. But I imagine it's a headache for coaches everywhere.
Yeah.
You've got no security year to year, even though that means you can turn over your roster if you wanted to. But other coaches we suspect will likely end up being fired. I think Ron Rivera's name is out there as being on a hot seat. Dennis Allen and New Orleans is said to be staying. But you got to wonder, Dan Quinn probably won't be in Dallas next year. Sean Payton's going to end up somewhere. D'Amico Ryans, defense coordinator out of the Niners. And there's probably one other I'm not thinking of. But
Denver's requested permission to interview Dan Quinn. But don't put this scenario out of your mind. Cowboys go up and lose that game next Monday night. Dan Quinn, get the promo. McCarthy. I think if they lose, McCarthy's done.
I want Sean Payton.
I don't want Sean Payton.
Why?
I think he's Mike McCarthy.
Really?
I think they're very similar in I think most of their success could be tied to generational or borderline generational quarterback talents. Won one Super Bowl, arguably should have won more and didn't. I don't know. He's just a name that's been rumored for so long that I'm just like, I don't care, dude. I want somebody young. Give me somebody different. I don't know. Dan Quinn's fine with me. If it keeps the defense happy, then do that. But I don't know. If you're a head coach,
Kellen Moore could get a bunch of head coaching jobs like we thought the last 5 years or 4 years ago. Everybody thought Kellen Moore was going to be somebody's head coach.
Yeah.
He looks too young to be a head coach. I know that's totally unfair to say. When your head coach can't look like he's 16 years old.
That's changing. That's changing a little bit.
Even the young head coaches still look like men. This guy, he looks like a boy. That's a
Men
weird
with
thing to say.
tattoos of their wife's tits on their chest.
Yeah.
There you go.
Dan Lanning's like 34.
Let's
There
put
you
in the
go.
call to Oregon. You think Jerry would make him show that in the interview? Good God. Couldn't handle it.
36. Dan Lanning, 36. He and I, same age.
That's awesome. You guys ready to run it back?
That's great.
Yeah,
Let's
let's
do
do it.
Run it back.
Let's run it back, which of course is the segment during which we talk about what we already talked about. Dylan saw Chris Beard push in a Lexus SUV on his lunch break. Felt kind of weird. Dave's son cried
Texas.
during soccer practice and may or may not have deserved a red card for his actions. The Scrotum Lodge is out of bounds, but the fart cabin is in play per Dave. He didn't want to be in the middle school field house on bean and cheese nacho day. KJ went after the troops again. Not everyone can be Malik
Whoa.
Hornsby in high school at Missouri City.
It's facts.
Mike Roach of, is it 247 or
I guess
24/7?
24/7.
24/7
I say it wrong.
Sports
247 is, yeah, whatever.
is a first responder of the Texas high school recruiting world. And finally, Hamlin released from the hospital. Very cool.
Breaking news.
That's amazing.
that dropped
Whoa.
during the pod.
That's awesome.
This is breaking news to me. I wasn't aware. I've got so many jokes I was waiting on this this development for.
Go ahead, KJ.
More on those another time. Just glad he's free. Just glad he's out.
Oh, he
Or,
tweeted
you know,
36
out of the
minutes
hospital.
ago.
And that concludes Run It Back.
DeMar Hamlin headed home to Buffalo today with a lot of love in my heart. Watching the world come together around me on Sunday was truly an amazing feeling. The same love you have all shown me is the same love that I plan to put back into the world and more. Bigger than football. Go ahead, Dylan. Criticize the tweet.
Is that something I do?
No, it's not. I'm kidding.
Shout out to DeMar Hamlin.
Shout out.
Very, very, very happy to see that.
And shout out to his family.
Shout out to his
KJ.
family.
As always, been a pleasure. We will see y'all Thursday night, 6:30 Central for the final live stream.
I want my chips with the dip. That's all I know. I don't want my chips plain. I want my chips with the dip. So bring them dips.